Emirati social evolution, from tradition to empowerment. Introduction. The United Arab Emirates' rapid socio-economic development over the last 4 decades has resulted in changes in every aspect of Emirati society. The UAE has shifted from being a traditional Arab-Muslim society defined by primary relations and familial kinship patterns based on Islamic principles to primarily functioning as a socio-economically developed society based on formal and socio-economic relations. Globalization has ushered in a transition from Emirati society's traditional way of life to a more modern form of culture, in terms of economic and social way of life. While religious teachings and cultural heritage used to be the sole determinants of norms and values, the coexistence of diverse subgroups and the increasing level of group interaction within society have shaped people's attitudes toward traditions. Given the importance of family in Emirati society, changes in family structure and marital decisions have become a barometer of social change, with women bearing the brunt of the impact of the UAE's transformation. Shift from patriarchy to socio-economic gender inclusion. Social hierarchy is widely used in societies and cultures to rank individuals within a social system. Socio-economic standing, in which cultures rank people according to their access to both symbolic and tangible resources including wealth, education, and reputation, is one of the most notable hierarchical structures. In the UAE, however, the stratification of individuals into hierarchies can be subdivided into social roles, with men and women playing different roles. Because men have always been the heads of families and make all the decisions, Emirati social systems have always advocated for patriarchal governance. Previously a long-established patriarchal society, the UAE has embraced tailored policies in recent decades to close significant gender gaps by focusing on women's empowerment. The UAE government has shifted its focus towards including women in its socio-economic activities, therefore, narrowing the gender differences gaps. Priority has been given to women's education and participation in economic, social, and political arenas as part of government initiatives to match economic development with human development. In addition, the UAE is the only country in the region where gender equality in educational attainment has been achieved. Furthermore, it continues to rank highly among Arab countries in terms of other measures of gender equality. As age-old traditions and institutions deteriorate, there is widespread concern that socio-economic development will erode the country's culture and cause it to become a clone of the West. Women empowerment. The condition of a country's children and women is frequently used to assess its level of development since its status reflects the developmental and societal framework. No nation has the right to call itself developed or modern if women and children lack basic rights. A country's progress is measured not only by its infrastructure and economy but also by its social fabric. Gender discrimination has long been a major issue around the world. It has created and continues to create disparities on many levels, including social, economic, psychological, and many others. Emirati women have traditionally been socialized into the roles of mother and wife, while Emirati men have been socialized into the roles of provider, protector, and leader. The development of any country is tied to how the society socializes and assigns roles to women and children. Over the last couple of decades, the UAE has had a trajectory towards women's empowerment by legislating different changes in how women are socialized in society. The traditional roles of women have been challenged as Emirati women have been encouraged to pursue higher education in recent decades. In addition to studying for extended periods, some of them are currently studying in Western nations or have previously received their degrees from such schools. With their newly obtained degrees, they now have greater access to various professions that were previously unavailable to them. Many educated Emirati women actively seek careers outside the home, and, more importantly, there is generally familial support for this path. Socioeconomic empowerment. With the continued growth of the UAE society and the dynamic modernization process that has transpired over the last 36 years, the government's strategic goal for women is to equip them with the tools they need to attain professional success. This plan intends to re-energize and leverage women's responsibilities in both the public and commercial sectors and to ensure that all career options remain open to them if they so desire to pursue them. In essence, the UAE acknowledges that the contributions of women to modernization are a national priority. Emirati women's eagerness and commitment to take advantage of these opportunities have complemented the government's gender empowerment programs and strategy. As a result, some Emirati women have gone on to become pioneers in their respective fields of employment. Not only has the traditional position of women evolved over the previous 2 generations, but UAE society has transformed in numerous good ways, bridging the traditional and the contemporary without abandoning the legacy and culture that constitute this country's national identity. The UAE is highly successful, not just economically, but also in creating a stable and tolerant society, thanks in part to its traditional values of tolerance and hospitality, as well as adherence to Islamic values of tolerance, fairness, and equity. Over the last 2 decades, women's responsibilities in the UAE have evolved. The cultural norms that prohibited women from working have since changed. Arab women were traditionally confined to the kitchen and the home. However, cultural changes have enabled women to obtain university and secondary education, preparing them for high-level administrative tasks. Because of its traditional values of tolerance and fairness, Emirati society has become more accepting of women in leadership positions in politics, education, and societal roles. In today's UAE, women have prominent positions in business and public sectors. This change demonstrates that firms in the UAE value women as leaders. Women's positions have also altered, and women can now be heads of businesses, indicating a significant shift in women's roles in the UAE. There has been a remarkable transition in Emirati social institutions, with women moving from being confined to caregivers to achieving top leadership posts in corporate UAE. Conclusion. Over the last 3 decades, the UAE society has seen dramatic changes in its cultural and social structures, allowing Emirati women to be more educated and involved in the workplace and public arena. As a result, it is not an exaggeration to argue that women presently live in an unprecedented golden period, at least in terms of attaining the human rights that ensure their dignity. As globalization affects every country's socio-economic aspects, there has been a movement in Emirati societal institutions, particularly in terms of women's empowerment. The condition of the UAE's children and women can be used to assess the country's level of development. Their status reflects the developmental and societal framework. Globalization has ushered in a transition from traditional to modern ways of life in the UAE, such as the inclusion of women in government, business, and education.